afternoon, everyone. Kevin Wood back on Long Island Talks, exclusively distributed on LongIsland.com. If we could talk Long Island business, and the guest that I might invite, I think the woman I'm about to have on would be it. Terri Miceli, President, CEO of HIA-LI. Welcome, Terri. How are you?
Thanks, Kevin. Holding on just like the rest of us, right?
Holding on. We could never have predicted in February of 2020 that we'd be scratching and clawing and truly proving our grit in business, in the business world. But it's good to have partners like each other. It really feels good. And all the people that surround us. So I read a little bit of the bio and I said to myself, 1978, 42 years, HIA-LI has been helping businesses, been a force to be reckoned with. And that probably beats some kind of record. That's incredible. Tell me about the organization.
Yeah, it is incredible. So as you said, they were formed in 1978 with a few business owners, one being Jack Kulka, who's still around. The other two, unfortunately, are not. But there was a 3-day power outage, and they absolutely went to local at the time, and they said, we need the lights back on. Obviously, we're a park, and there are businesses in here, so we have to have an opportunity to do business. So really, the organization began as an advocate for the then Hauppauge Industrial Park. And Kevin, I have to tell you, it's interesting, the dynamic that has led us back to one of those core missions, which is I'm sure you've heard, we've just renamed the park, the Long Island Innovation Park at Hauppauge, and we're back to doing a lot of that work, in addition to really advocating for all of Long Island.
And that's absolutely appropriate. We should tell the audience that this is the biggest organization of its kind in the Northeast, one of the biggest in the country.
It is. I mean, the Innovation Park itself, we did an opportunity analysis probably about 4 years ago, and we found out several things. One is it is the largest in the Northeast. It's second behind Silicon Valley. It has about 55,000 employees and has an economic output of probably about 14 billion. So in fact, tomorrow we are doing a press release to let everybody know that with the town of Smithtown, we've created an overlay district to put apartments in the park.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Because, so
brilliant.
Many need to live, to work, to play. And
millennials do not care about housing, buying houses, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes. That I can tell you. Our mutual friends at TriTech will tell you that all day long. Right place, right time. That's another story, another interview, but that's great news. That's fantastic news. So let's talk about a typical member. How many members and typical member benefits? Are they called members or partners?
They're called members, absolutely. So we're right now about 1,000-member organization, but the value of membership, Kevin, is that if a company joins, anybody in their organization can get involved. So we really represent thousands and thousands of business professionals. And, it's interesting through COVID and recovery, I think some of our core mission has changed. And a lot of our members, I'm sure you found the same thing. We've had to reinvent ourselves.
Definitely.
And that word pivot that we are hearing so often. So that what is happening with us now is, I'm really proud to say that we came out swiftly out of the gate very early.
Very
to help
early.
Our members, really understand what was going on. Very confusing time, still is a very confusing time, but we were on calls with New York Forward. We were on calls with the Suffolk County COVID Business Task Force to really disseminate critical information. So we have a very big economic development arm, as well as we have a very large networking and connection arm, which has changed dramatically through these days because we can't do any live events.
Right.
So, for us, events, I see events very differently than some other people might see events. And absolutely, it helps with cash flow, particularly now. But more importantly, what events do for us, it's really a vehicle for us to engage our members. So we've been doing obviously everything virtually, but it helps us boost our business profile as well as talk about some really important economic development issues.
Let's talk about May 19 May 2019, the last in-person trade show. Again, one of the biggest and largest of its kind. It's a great event, but people might not realize the simpleness of it because it's 9 to 3. Thank God, because that's a really good 6 hours, power networking, the best and the best of businesses and industry. Really enjoyed it last year. I totally engaged with so many people. Let people know what that is and what they might see coming up in place of that, at least this year.
Yeah. So, you know what, like so many other businesses you've probably spoken to, last year in general, we had a banner year, right? So
the best year.
Best year we could ever have, and then boom, everything happened. But the reason I say that is a lot of that had to do with the trade show. I mean, it was by far, in our years, the largest we've ever had, over 5,000 participants and 375 exhibit booths. And as you said, it's a place to do business and or connect to people that you've already known to do additional business. So, you know, we thought long and hard this year because many of our partners have decided to wait to go back to live event, but we made a conscious decision this year to have a virtual trade show, and it'll be 2 full days. It'll be October 7th and 8th. And we did that for several reasons, because we understand how important it is now than ever for people to connect.
Yes.
And whether that's virtually, when they can't do it face-to-face, then that's what that means. So we've created a real good vehicle for them to be able to log in, go to a virtual exhibit booth or booths, look at them, set appointments on the spot, do live chats on the spot. So again, can't shake any hands or give any hugs, unfortunately, but we'll get back to that next year. But it will give them the opportunity to connect to people. And that's what's so critical right now.
Yeah, it's critical from a personalization standpoint, even from a survival standpoint. I think it's been just as important as food and water, the connection. Yeah. We've seen some of the negative effects of that. So that's wonderful news. October 7th and 8th. So it's not a one-day event. It's a 2-day event. Give us the hours. Try to give us everything you can right now. We're going to push it out for you.
At 9 a.m. literally on October 7th, and it goes to 12 midnight October 8th. So the reason we did that is so that people could log in when they can and when they want, number one, and to keep the executive programming, because, you know, that trade show over the years has become a really important forum for economic discussion, as you know, because you help us out with it. Mm-hmm. We appreciate that. And, you know, we didn't want to let our vendors, people like you, down. We didn't want to let obviously our members down. And there was so much good information coming out right now, believe it or not, about economic development, even through this recovery. One of the things we'll talk about this year that's more relevant than ever is the ability to be able to get some more federal funds down here for infrastructure projects. We need it. We're dead in the water if we don't get things like that.
We are dead in the water.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're talking about some who have got it.
Give me an example of what would be a dream project federally here on Long Island. What personally would you like to see?
I mean, listen, I'm going to go back to our baby, which is the Long Island Innovation Park at Hop Hog. What we see happening here is, as I mentioned, apartments, but also developing a workforce training center. Also, one of the things that the studies have told us is that marketing, as you know, right? You're a marketing guru. As marketing and branding is so critical. If you look at a park of this magnitude, there is not one brick and mortar sign up. If you drive past it, you don't even know where you are, literally. So we'll be doing that as well. When I talk about federal funding, Kevin, I speak more about funding the counties and funding some of the other, you know, the hub and some of the things that are coming down the pike that really can re-energize this economy. Needed now more than ever.
So everybody's got to be aboard that initiative, legislators, politicians, if you will, builders, contractors, developers, your group and many other groups that are under you, so to speak, the businesses within the park. Yeah, let's push that. That's so important. You know, anybody that lives on Long Island, does business on Long Island, let's face it, we look at Nassau and Suffolk County as its own economic engine, apart from New York City. I know we're annexed to New York City. Again, that's another story. So we have to fight for ourselves in these two counties. Fantastic. Let's go back to the membership. About 1,000 members. big, small, gigantic. Just give me an example of, what a membership looks like. And typically I know that the content is unparalleled. The networking, even if it's virtually, is unparalleled. Just tell me about the yearly membership and some of the benefits.
Sure. So, I mean, one of the largest benefits that our members use is we have 16 now active committees. And what that means is they're committees that really usually meet on a monthly basis. Again, now they're meeting virtually, and they evolve around either something that's industry specific, like healthcare, like manufacturing, things like that, and or are skill based. So something like a sales and marketing committee, a business development committee. And the reason why we structured it that way is because that's how our members said that we could best help them. So for example, those people who have a product or a service to sell to manufacturers and to the healthcare community can get involved in a committee like that and really meet those types of people. Those who want to develop skill for themselves as well as for their employees in sales and marketing and business development, they can get involved in that. One of our newest committees that has come out of COVID is what's called the Social Responsibility Committee. So what that will be is we'll be helping to create a template for organizations to give back to the nonprofit communities. Those nonprofit communities, as you probably know, Kevin, have been hit extremely hard through this, as we all have. But in particular, they're seeing donations down of about 40%. So they really need help. So one of the things we're doing in forming that committee is we're going to get a group of people around a table on Zoom and really talk about how do we create a template for giving back, for giving. By the way, that's so important with young kids right now, right? So I don't know about you, but with my son, I mean, they are all about volunteering,
Absolutely,
giving back. So it will help the future generation as well. So committees is one thing. Certainly we run some very active educational programs for our members, and some of them can be very large and others can be very small, but they have an element of both networking as well as, again, an educational element. And our third piece, as I said before, is economic development.
right.
So
I have to tell you, I have a real-time example of a vendor, you know them, TechWorks, I believe in Bohemia. Jim Donald, great guy. And not only did I meet Jim, and we ended up using them. They actually are our vendor here in Port Jefferson Village. And right. It made me feel good that they were a member. I always brought the conversation back to HIA-LI. And it was interesting because it was almost like being like a AAA member in my mind. It was more, honestly, it was a more trusting thing. So that might not be something that everybody's thought of, but it made me feel better about selecting this vendor besides the fact that they were qualified.
Right.
So Jim will tell you that story. So I back that up. That makes a lot of sense for us.
No, thank you. I mean, that's wonderful to hear that feedback, Kevin, because we work very hard here, very hard.
I know that.
At making connections, at, talking to people about who do you want to meet and how can we connect you and who is the right type of person to meet and things like that. So when I hear stories like that, it really, seriously, it warms my heart because that's why we're here.
Terri, wonderful points, right? We trust people that we do business with, and it makes more sense to do business with people that are part of the membership that we've been talking about today. So, tell me if you have any special credits you want to give to people during this pandemic, that's what it is, and even going into the future.
Yeah, so so proud of our members, Kevin. I mean, one of the things that I've seen over and over and over again is many of our member companies have repurposed themselves when the county and the state needed personal protection equipment. Many of these manufacturers repurposed their plants, got to it, and just began to distribute face masks and things that people needed. That's number one. Number two, I've seen members really reach out, and we started a program called Business Steps Up because of it, and step up and really give guidance to other members and said, how can we help you? Could not be prouder of my team. I mean, we went through what everybody else went through, which is, unfortunately, I had to lay some people off and cut salaries and things like that. But, they just it amazes me how much we accomplish anyway. People will say to me, wow, I thought you had 50, 60 people, and we're
True.
70 people
True.
that accomplish a lot. So I could not be prouder of the way they've stepped up to the plate. The first thing that they did when all of this happened is said to me, let's get on the phone and let's call our members and see how they're doing. And we just did a real face-to-face phone call. What's going on? How are you doing? Because people were in isolation, and it is so difficult to
Absolutely.
be in isolation. So again, those are the two core groups. I'm surrounded by great people. They make us look great. Our board of directors, again, is phenomenal as well. So we're very, very lucky, very lucky.
Absolutely. And I think the best is yet to come. In a way, I'm sure you say this, at night when you're talking to your significant other, like what happened to 2020, it's mind blowing. So we can only bet that 2021 has to be better.
Yeah.
Has to be. October 7th and 8th sounds very exciting. There's just a registration. Is there a cost to participate?
There is not.
Okay.
It is free to attend. So just log on to HIA-LI.org.
Excellent. So anybody that's out there that wants to reconnect or connect with new businesses, that's going to be excellent. Content constantly rolling for 2 days straight. You can argue possibly more efficient than being in person. So grab yourself whatever you have. If you're in the morning, a bagel, at night, a drink, and have fun and engage with that. So I thank you very much, Terri, for being with us. We'll get this out right away and let people know what's coming. The best is yet to come. All the best to you.
Oh, you too. And let's stay Long Island strong.
Long Island strong.